Yo guys, it's Fused Biscuits here. Now, Konami has announced an OCG ban list, and usually I don't cover OCG ban list on this channel, right? Because I'm a Master Duel guy. You know, I only cover Master Duel stuff, but this one has some insane changes that might have an impact on Master Duel as well. So first change, that Dragon rule is all back, right? We all knew it was going to happen. Next change, Clutch Fire is back to 3. It was at 1. It has a new errata. Everyone knew that. Okay, there's a bunch of other unhits as well. Spiral Quick Fix is going back to 3 because spirals have not been doing anything recently. Zeus was at 1 over there. Now it's at 3 everywhere. Unexpected Kieran is actually back to 3, which, you know, again, happened in Master Duel, and it's happened there as well. They just see that, yeah, Kieran's not such a big deal anymore. You know, us Pendulum players have been saying that for ages, but, you know, apparently Konami just got the message now. Okay, Raigeki's also going back to 3 in the OCG, and this is kind of a big one here because we have it at 2 in the Master Duel right now, right? So maybe one day we'll also get Raigeki at 3. Good news for going second decks. Okay, my friend Pirelli back at 3. Okay, they had that limited. Lightning Storm. Yeah, oh yeah, Lightning Storm. I didn't even know it was at 2 in the OCG. I really don't know why. I guess it's a good side deck card, but yeah, that's coming back to 3. Now, newly semi-limited. Okay, we've got Ava going back from 1 to 2. Now, Ava hasn't really been doing anything recently. So, Unit and Carrier is banned. That was one way to equip Ava. And more importantly, Drytrons are just not that good right now. But, you know, so while Ava may be a very toxic card, I don't think it's even going to see any play. Like, I just don't see it. What decks are using it? Okay, Valkyrie's using it. Cyber Angels is using it. Agents is using it, apparently. Melodious is using it. Herald is obviously going to use it. And Megalith Drytron. Oh my day. Okay, that's the toxic deck I'm talking about, bro. No one wants to see that. Anyway, Melodious. Now, I know Melodious has some cards that I don't know about. And, you know, I'm going to keep it a surprise. So, I'm not going to look at it here. But, yeah, okay. So, I guess Ava back to 2 is actually going to help some decks. I mean, I'm guessing if you do play Ava, you probably have a way to search or send it anyway. So I don't, realistically, this is not going to do anything. Okay, Speedroid Terratop was still at 1 in the OCG. Everywhere else already has this thing at 3. But there's testing the waters, you know, they're putting it back to 2. They're seeing how it's going to go. Okay, Dino Wrestler Pancatrops. Everywhere has it at 2 now. OCG used to have it at 1. Now it is at 2. MX Saber Invoker. Now, this card used to be insane back in like certain formats, right? Especially Zodiac format. Being able to just turbo out one of those guys with any rank 3 like Speedroid Terratop was pretty good. But now, you know, we have so many better cards. We've honestly had better cards since like 2018 or something ridiculous like that. Like, just think about Isold. Isold just does this but better. So yeah, okay, I don't see that doing anything. Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. I have no idea why this thing is even at 2 in the OCG, right? I understand they're afraid of Pendulum, but come on, man. Like, it's at 3 everywhere else. It's doing nothing. It's just testing the waters again. Now here's an important one. We have Gold Sarcophagus coming back to 2. Now, I think this one is a little bit risky, right? In fact, I think this is very risky. Let's look at a card that, not recently, but more recently than not, got put on the ban list, right? Foolish Burial Goods. Now, Foolish Burial Goods, in Master Duel at least, got put to 1. And there's a good reason for that, right? Because if you have these generic spells that just send something from the deck anywhere, it's only a matter of time before that spell gets broken, right? And that was definitely the case with Gold Sarcophagus. There are so many decks where this banish is completely insane, right? You've got Branded. This banish is basically just a search, making this into a rotor, right? Making this card just search anything. And back in the day, Danger Thunder Dragons, man, they were broken, bro. They were pretty busted. And this card was insane in that deck. And also, I think Alice or Malice, something like that, that's coming out. Those definitely want to banish cards. In fact, this card basically just summons anything from the deck in that deck, right? So maybe that's why it's coming back to 2. But honestly, I don't like this change. I think there's going to be another deck that comes along and it's going to trigger something in the banish zone and it's going to be completely insane, and Goldtop is going to have to get banned again, bro. I feel like that's what's going to happen. That's a bit risky. Anyway, you know, that's not even the most important change. Okay, we've got Fusion Destiny, not very important. It's just going to 2, you know. Fusion Destiny was not the problem, I say, but you know, OCG, they kind of love their consistency hits, man. But we all knew Verto was the issue, and this did not deserve to get hit anyway, let's be honest. Okay, Branded opening back to 2, so Branded's getting a bit of a release from the ban list. You know, okay, Branded is actually kind of a based deck right now, so I really do appreciate that. Here is the main one though. Maxx C is going from 3 to 2. Now, this was very overdue. I say this is extremely overdue, but even more recently, we have a bunch of cards. Well, okay, I say a bunch. We have 2 cards called the Molt Chummies, and these cards are basically watered down versions of Maxx C. So you need to have no cards to use them, so no going first. And you know, if your hand gets too big at the end, you are forced to shuffle a bunch of cards back, right? So unlike Maxx C, this still will go through all of your hand traps. Unlike Maxx C, you are going to have to actually shuffle some stuff back, right? Especially if they end on a small board. But it doesn't really mean that much. I mean, it's the amount of cards your opponent controls plus 6. So if they do decide to make a massive board, you will get a massive amount of cards. But if they decide to end on a small board, you won't have like a 20 card hand or something like that. Although, you know, me personally, I still think this is pretty broken. But anyway, the OCG brought this out, and everyone knew the moment that this came out, Maxx C was going to get banned, right? In fact, they expected it on the last OCG ban list. But you know, I didn't think it was going to happen. The reason why I didn't think it was going to happen is that I thought the previous one that came out, Rarity, didn't do that much, right? So I think they were just testing the waters for one format to see if Pharos was actually going to, you know, live up to the Maxx C hype, and it definitely did. So now's the time for Maxx C to be able to go back down. Now, I don't think they want to ban Maxx C right away. Again, they're still testing the waters, right? They still want to see how the community feels about banning Maxx C, because a lot of people like Maxx C. The majority of people hate Maxx C, right? With a passion. But I think some people do like Maxx C, and that's the reason Konami is a bit iffy on banning it, right? Because I can make a whole video about why Maxx C sucks, but we're not here for that. So let's just finish up the ban list, then we can come back a bit later. Okay, we've got Nightmare Throne from 3 to 2. So these are the actual hits, right? Nightmare Throne going from 3 to 2. What does this mean? It's a small consistency hit for Yubel, but it really does matter. Like, Nightmare Throne is the best card, and it's unsearchable. Yeah, a lot of the time, Yubel boards right now in Master Duel, they feel like they are dealable, right? Like you can deal with it. However, when Nightmare Throne hits, bro, it has this annoying effect where if a Yubel leaves the field by card effect, which you basically have to do, it brings out a different Yubel, right? And this is almost impossible to get around. So it means if you have like a spicy out to the Yubel, right? Like Super Poly, for example, it means that they still get to keep some follow-up on the field, right? And as long as they have that stupid Yubel, you can't attack through them, and it's just super annoying. Glad to see this going back down to 2. Now, goes in match for the OCG. They finally got the message and started pulling down some of these floodgates. Now, it's only going to 2. Unfortunately, it's not at 1, but you know, that just is how it is, man. So anyway, newly limited. Okay, there are some good ones in here, right? We've got new limited Zodiac Dragon is going back to 1. I think no one really cared about this. Everyone, oh, the TCG doesn't have it. Okay, well, TCG, bro, you need to get on that stat, bro, because we need our Dragons, man. Masterpiece. Now, this is another important one. I don't know why on earth. I'm pretty sure every time someone holds a tournament, right, where everything is unbanned, right, where the whole ban list is unbanned, every time someone does that, Masterpiece ends up dominating in some way, right? So I have no idea why you think this can come back now. This thing, when you go first, is like the most annoying thing to out, right? Because it's like a towers. it's a towers that is too easy to summon. And to make matters worse, right, we have a deck this can actually go into. Like, one got announced in the OCG. Let's see what it's called. Yeah, Argos. Bro, well, there's a new Argos deck that I know has been announced, and this thing can just take very easy advantage of Masterpiece, right? Because it's all about getting to those continuous traps, and it also has a monster, so maybe it can go there. But I think I'm more worried about this Masterpiece just going in stun decks and making them even better. Like, everyone already hates stun, so why are you giving us more stun? What is the state of Runics in this game? Yeah, okay, Runics, they still have a fountain, so Masterpiece in Runic stun is going to be hell, right? You just tribute a continuous spell and a monster, your fusion monster, then you'll be unaffected by spells and unaffected by monsters, and you'll just keep popping something on every turn with a quick effect pop as well, by the way. So that's just too crazy. Red Eyes Dragoon is coming back to the OCG. Now, I actually heard some spicy stuff about this one. Now, apparently there's some kind of spicy way to summon it, but the main way, which is Verte, is banned in the OCG, right? So I think Dragoon is actually good, right? Because how are you really summoning it, like, in a non-cheesy way, right? Because this card can also be cheated out, by the way, which is, it is pretty bad card design that this thing could just be cheated out, right? But the way to do it is really through drawing Red Eyes Fusion, right? That was the only alternate way besides Verte which was even viable. And Red Eyes Fusion just locks you out summoning for the rest of the turn. So what are you going to do? Like, Dragoon pass, Dragoon set and pass? Like, come on, bro. I don't think Dragoon is that good anymore, right? But what this does mean is that maybe we might get this in Master Duel, right? Master Duel has never seen Red Eyes Dark Dragoon before, right? As soon as the game was released, this card was already banned, right? But since Master Duel, it does take heavy inspiration from the OCG ban list more than the TCG ban list. So I'm thinking, yeah, maybe this card might actually come to Master Duel, yeah? What would you guys think about that? Okay, we have Snatch Duel coming back to 1. Doesn't really do much. Okay, we've got Dire Bellstar of the Black Witch is going to 1. Finally, now I just hope Master Duel follows suit and hits this one as well, right? This is a consistency here, right? You still have a chance to draw the Dire Bellstar, which is not great if I'm being honest. But then again, you won't be seeing it as often, that is for sure. Anyway, Poplar is going to 1. Thank you. Now that's actually a pretty good hit. It does kind of screw with you as a snake. If you're trying to play Snake Eyes and something, it does kind of screw with you if you only have 1 Poplar, right? Versus everything else. It means, for example, if you start with Poplar, you won't be able to combo into searching another Poplar and summoning it, right? That's not going to be a thing anymore. And also, Poplar is always the one that you wanted multiple copies of. So if you had your original simple spells in the graveyard, you might just find that after you do your combo, you've run out of level 1 fires to search, right? And then you just can't use original anymore. That is a thing that happens even with 2 Poplar. So at 1, that's crazy. But also the TCG and the OCG have this at 1. So maybe Master Duel can actually take the hint and send this guy to 1, bro, or even ban it. Like, I don't care, man. I'm so sick of seeing Snake Eyes at this point. Just please send this to the Shadow Realm, man. We send this to the Forbidden List, bro. We don't want it anymore. Oh my gosh, Tenpai. This Tenpai card is going to 1, and wasn't this a major card? If you control a fire monster, special summon this from your hand. That's not the damage that if this monster battles, you can special summon. Oh yeah, this is one. Yeah, this is the one that summons from the deck. Now I'm pretty sure most Tenpai players, right? I think that I don't play the TCG or the OCG, but this just feels like something you would realistically summon before you go to the battle phase, right? So I'm not sure how much of a hit this even is, but hopefully this is good enough, right? Because Tenpai is like the ultimate going second deck. This is doing extremely well, almost top deck of the game kind of well, right? Like, I don't think this is the top deck of the game, but is actually kind of up there, right, with the best decks. And I'm not sure the last time a going second deck even managed to do that. We've had some good going second decks, right? We've had like the Dinos, I remember that. We've had Mechanco, and that's really it. I don't think anything else has been that good going second, right? And even those decks were kind of like not low on the tier list, but definitely not like tier 1. But I think Tenpai actually has what it takes to be tier 1. And in Master Duel, which is a best of 1, right? Master Duel's a best of 1. There's no real like side decking, right? So a lot of people were side decking in Kuribo or like Kuriphoton. It's basically like the ultimate Kuribo effect, right? Like you discard this, take 2000, and then you'll no longer take any damage, right? But here's the thing, I don't think this is even going to be viable in Master Duel, right? Because in the TCG and OCG it's best of 3. So after the first duel, you know your opponent is going to be on Tenpai, so you already know to search this thing. But in Master Duel, you really can't afford to be doing things like that, right? Like, who's just going to search Kuriphoton randomly? Yeah, so Tenpai is definitely going to be in a very good position when it comes out in Master Duel, unless they give it some kind of pre-hits or something, which they haven't really been doing, honestly. Like they've done it a bit before, but people kind of complained. They said that they did not like the pre-hits, even though I think they're kind of necessary, to be honest. Like, I remember those tier pre-hits. We definitely needed that, right? Like, no one wanted to experience full power tiers. But most people have noticed a trend in Master Duel, right? Like, decks now have way more URs than they used to have. Like, now I can show you an extreme example, which is Voiceless Voice. Okay, that deck had way more ultra rares than it ever had any business having, right? But let's actually just look at the tier list. For example, look at Snake Eye Fire King. All these ultra rares, right? Kirin's are ultra rare, Poplars are ultra rare, Black Witch is an ultra rare. See what else? Garunic's ultra rare, Ponix ultra rare. Jeez, bro, like the other Garunics, like the OG Garunics ultra rare, Original Sinful Spells ultra rare, Bonfire ultra rare. These are some of the best cards in the game, all ultra rares. Flamberge ultra rare, like look at that. And it's not even, I don't think it's as easy to farm gems as it used to be, right? Before you used to get like a bunch of gems, and I still think you get quite a few gems, but just not as much as you really used to get. Now I'm gonna go to Yubel because it is a cheaper one, right? That's for sure. Yubel is cheaper, but again, we have like the best card in the deck, Nightmare Throne, ultra rare. What else we got? What else? We have Spirit of Yubel, ultra. Oh, okay, I just spoiled that. Oh my. Okay, I just saw something I shouldn't have. We got, but yeah, Spirit of Yubel, ultra rare. Unchained cards as well, ultra rare. And there's also a bunch of SRs, like super rares in here as well. So you know, the decks can get very expensive. For that reason, what I think they're gonna do is that they're just going to rarity bump the hell out of Tenpai because everyone's expecting that to be like god tier in this game. But what they're going to do is that they're going to keep the best cards like super rare or something, so they can hit this deck when the time comes and just not give you anything for it. Like, I honestly think that's what they're going to do, right? So that's enough about that. Here, I kind of got spoiled on this one. Phantom of Yubel is going to 1. And this is well deserved, right? So Phantom of Yubel, if you notice on the summoning condition, right, where he's like, you just shuffle the above card from the graveyard back into the deck, right? So that's insane recycling. And you may have noticed it's not once per turn, right? So you can just keep on summoning this thing, keep on recycling your Yubels back that you destroy, and it just gets out of hand so fast, right? Because let's be honest, this thing is just a 3+1 while it's sitting in your extra deck, right? So you have 3. It's basically just +3 before you even start the game. Not to mention this crazy effect of being able to like negate a monster effect. Now, if you're using this effect to like negate a Maxx C or something on your turn, it's going to be very hard to put this back into your extra deck to summon it again, right? You're probably only going to be summoning 1 for that entire duel. And you know what? Yubel, again, is the #1 deck in Master Duel right now. So I do think it's going to follow suit here, right? Maybe not immediately because the cards are fairly recent, but I do think they are going to give this a slight tap on the wrist. Right, now what else we got? Oh, we got the Fiendsmith cards, right? Fiendsmith Engraver and Fiendsmith Tract. Now, again, I don't play the TCG or the OCG, but from what I've heard about these cards, they are not good for the game, right? They gave an insane buff to Snake Eyes, and I do kind of know how these cards work. It's basically like Fiend extension that can happen with any 2 cards in the game, and that again is going to go very well with Yubels, right? And Yubels are the best cards in the game right now. So what I'm hoping for here, I'm actually hoping that Fiendsmiths are going to come to Master Duel pre-hit. Now you can say you're looking forward to these cards coming out in Master Duel, but from what I've heard, these cards are just not good for the game, right? They're basically back in the day Orcust, right? Because you just have this insane Link 1 that can go into this combo from any 2 cards basically, and it's honestly not something I really want to see in the game. Now I don't know if this is really going to make a difference, right? I don't know, maybe they've banned some of the other Fiendsmith cards already. I'm not going to check it now because I don't want to spoil myself again, but you know, let's just see how it goes in the next ones, bro. Bonfire is going to 1. Okay. I don't know, man. I mean, technically it's a step in the right direction, but you know, like I said in the other one, like, this is just a consistency here. Why not ban this card, right? This card is super sacky, even when it's at 3, right? Because Bonfire just searches the Poplar, the limited to 1 Poplar, right? And then that triggers Poplar's effect to summon itself. And in Snake Eyes, nothing sucks more than when you negate their Snake Eye Ash with an Imperm or something, and they just have Bonfire in their hand anyway and continue to combo. Like, back when they made this card, Pyros were not doing that good, so you know, I'm saying it was fair to make it. Pyros did suck, but at this point I think you can see that the one good Pyro type in the game, Snake Eyes, is getting way too much of a boost off of this, and this just allows Snake Eyes to go into basically every deck, right? So yeah, this thing definitely should just be banned, honestly. I know the OCG doesn't like to ban stuff, but this kind of, again, doesn't really fix the issues, right? Because Snake Eyes, for example, Snake Eyes Fiendsmith is still at full power, right? You have 1 Bonfire, you still have the Fiendsmith cards, you still have the Poplar and the Diabellstar. It's just all of it is now limited to 1, making you less likely to draw it, but like, it's still an issue, and I don't really know what Konami is really thinking here. But you know, let's just move on from Bonfire for a second. Okay, newly forbidden Beatrice. Okay, so Beatrice is actually going to 0. It means that Beatrice is now banned in the TCG and the OCG, and I'm gonna say good riddance to that, right? Like, from what I've heard, Beatrice is what lets Snake Eyes combo with Fiendsmith, right? It's what makes Fiendsmith such an insane deck, because Fiendsmith just summons level 6s like no one's business, right? And back when Beatrice was made, Burning Abyss was the main way to get use out of this thing, and it was very hard to summon level 6s. Honestly, before Fiendsmith came out, even in Master Duel right now, it's still pretty hard to get to 2 level 6s. Obviously, it's good enough that you can do it consistently in some decks, but overall, it's just not worth it to go down those routes when you could go for better routes. But with the new Fiendsmith cards coming out, it's going to be way too easy to make Beatrice, and I don't think Konami wants to dance around level 6s like this, right? Because I don't think we even have a good level 6 turbo kind of deck, right, outside of Fiendsmith, and I think Beatrice is the exact reason for that. Because you know what, let's go back and look at a card called Larval Chain. This card's been banned for ages because it basically does the same thing Beatrice does, but it just was very easy to summon, right? That 2 level 4s is very easy to get to, and I think that Beatrice is in that same position right now, where 2 level 6s is just way too easy to get to. and then Beatrice just gets to send anything it wants to the graveyard, and that's just not good for the game. That is all the changes that have happened. So main changes, Beatrice is getting banned, and I do think it's going to get banned in Master Duel as well before Fiendsmith comes out. I think that's just the right choice, because no one wants to see these Fiendsmith combos where you go to Beatrice, right? I think everyone wants to see something that's kind of spicy, right? Like, you want to see some Triple D Wave King Caesars, yeah? You want to see some Abel's or Lars, bro. Like, I know what y'all want to see. No one wants to see this crappy Beatrice send anything in the game to the graveyard, bro. Like no one wants to be doing that. Another one, Masterpiece, bro. The Master of Peace is actually coming back to the OCG, and you know, Master Duel follows the OCG more than it follows the TCG, so I'm thinking maybe Masterpiece is actually going to come back, bro. Like, who knows? Like, so, you know, in stun decks, you better be watching out for this card. Also, Red Eye's Dark Dragoon. Now, you know, after thinking about it for a little bit, I actually don't think Dragoon is going to come to Master Duel, right? Why? Because they, for some reason, insist on keeping Verte around. Like, maybe to make it a bit more fresh, like make Master Duel a bit more of a fresh format. But yeah, I think as long as Verte is in the game, Dragoon is probably just not going to come back. Other major hits, right? We've got Yubel Star going to 1, Snake Eyes Poplar going to 1, and Bonfire going to 1. Oh, and the OCG already has Wanted at 1 as well, right? So yeah, again, I don't really agree with these hits. I think they're just going to make Snake Eyes super sacky. That I'd rather they just ban something at this point, because let's be honest, Snake Eyes is got even more support than what is in Master Duel right now. So realistically, Snake Eyes isn't gonna die from one ban. The Phantom of Yubel going to 1 now. It is kind of sad to see for Yubel players. But I think Yubel is a character who kind of deserved a bit more love, right? They just never really gave Yubel the support it deserved, right? So you never really got to feel like you're playing Yubel. But you know, I also think that Phantom to 1 is definitely well deserved. Being able to just summon this thing over and over as extra bodies, right? It's too much, bro. I think it really did just deserve to go to 1. Gold Sark coming back a little bit. I understand why they did it for the new like Malice cards, but I do think this is a bit too risky, because any deck that likes to use the Banish Zone is going to be taking full advantage of the 2 copies of this, right? And then I think it's just a matter of time before a deck or combo just comes out and it's just way too broken with the Gold Sarcophagus, right? So yeah, I do think this is a mistake to put it to 2. Maybe not the biggest mistake right now, not the most obvious mistake, but I do think this is going to be a mistake that is going to cost the players. And last but not least, for the major hits, we have Maxx C finally going to 2 in the OCG. Hopefully Master Duel takes the hint and bans this before the Molchami comes out. I don't want to see 3 Molchami and 3 Maxx C, man. Come on, just ban the Maxx C in Master Duel right now and give us the Molchami. Like, honestly, I think Molchami is kind of toxic too in its own right, but it's way better than having Maxx C. So if Konami is really dead set on keeping one of them around, I just hope that Maxx C goes as soon as possible, right? I don't want to see it. I don't know everything about Yu-Gi-Oh, so make sure if you know something I don't, put it in the comment section below so I can then do a better job in the future, and make sure that you guys want to come back here so I can see you in the next one, and goodbye.